episode 65, and this is kind of an emergency type of episode.
Special episode
It's a special episode.
brought to you by Kellogg's.
Yeah, right. Brought to you by the war in Iran.
Yeah, by the war in Iran. We want to talk about the war in Iran. Israel and U.S. strikes. You know, and I'm going to say something now before we get started. This is just our opinion. A lot of people have different opinions right now.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
Some good, some bad.
Yep.
Right? So first, I got a lot of notes here too. I'm sure you're up on a computer with whatever, so we'll just talk. But I'll tell you what, first let's talk about military power. It's just amazing.
It's amazing. It is. We are.
Wow.
And we're really not pouring it on that much. I mean, they could really launch.
Right. Israel's actually doing more than we are.
They're doing more damage than we are. But our CIA,
Mhm.
CIA, they were the ones that kind of tracked where he was
Yeah.
and helped Israel.
They took him out, took out his son, and like 30 other leaders. So now they announced, well, let me get through this first.
Yeah.
So the two big ones, the USS Abraham Lincoln
Right.
and the USS Gerald Ford,
Which is the newest and largest carrier.
the biggest.
Biggest. Yep.
They launch missiles too, right? Cruise missiles. all
Oh, yeah.
that.
They got. That's parked off the coast of Israel to protect Israel, basically.
Yeah, I heard that was like parked right there,
Right there. Yep.
to help shoot down anything that might be coming over the water.
Yep.
Then they have guided missile destroyers,
Yep.
Tomahawk launchers. Yeah, you see those things coming
Oh,
out
I
of
know.
boat,
I know.
you know,
Yep.
and they can go through a window at a certain building. It's
Yep.
just the technology is just.
And
really
then you got the
incredible.
F-22s, the F-35s,
Yeah,
and the stealth bombers.
yeah. I remember when the Iraq War started. They went in with all stealth bombers. They didn't even know they were coming.
Yeah.
And they also used the what are they called? The F-17 stealth fighters, I think it was. Yeah, too. But these Tomahawk launches and Tomahawk missiles, they use against specific targets, and there's really no one ship that did it all. It's like we brought everything in.
Yeah. Even submarines. I think there were one or two submarines.
Yeah, and a lot of missiles got launched from
But,
subs.
Iran's got to be running out of artillery. I mean, they only had a certain amount. I heard they had like 1,000 whatever missiles that they use.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're called, but
and they're lobbing them
they're just. It seems like they're just lobbing them.
into Qatar. And
Saudi Arabia?
Why would
Iran?
they do it?
I
They're
mean,
not
it's
making
just-
friends doing
Yeah,
that.
no, they're not. And I don't know. I hope this doesn't backfire on us. I mean, there is a lot of left that's protesting this, and
Well, you
Against it.
expected that to happen.
yeah,
I mean, there's, on one side of the fence, and we talk about this a lot. You got Fox on one side of the fence that never shows you the other side, and you got the other side never shows us the right side. And because I was seeing most of what I was seeing was celebrations about this
oh, that's all I saw
in the
And
streets.
I saw more than Fox. I saw other channels. I
Me
saw
too.
News Nation,
Yeah,
Newsmax. I mean, they're all to the right.
yeah.
I did see CBS. CBS reported it, and I think ABC.
In D.C., they were, all over the country, all over the world. Actually, there were some celebrations going on.
Yeah.
But then I think it was ABC, possibly CBS, I forget who it was, came out with showing that there's all bunch of these people gathered together to mourn the loss of their leader. Now, I find that hard to believe
Yeah, I
considering what
find
he
it hard to
does.
believe too. Well, you never know. There could be.
No, it could be, yeah. And you know what? Somebody said, I thought what made sense is some of these people don't want to celebrate because if the regime comes back, they're in trouble. Right? Just like they killed 30,000 protesters. If you go against your government, their government,
Yeah.
you're in trouble. So they did Iran strikes. Listen to this. In the first 24 hours, they used 1,200 bombs. In the first 24 hours. Involved 200 fighter jets striking 500 military targets in what was described as the largest compact sortie. Sorties are a group of planes
Yeah.
in Israel's history. Additional waves followed on March 1st. U.S. strikes, U.S. contributed significantly with Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from the warships. It's a low-cost one-way attack is basically what they said. They call them suicide drones. So They're used in combat. And then we had, like you said, the F-35, F-18s, and other weapons. And March 1st, U.S. reported striking 900 Iranian targets
Well, they're trying to take out their missiles launchers and all
and
that,
radars and
radar
yeah,
and all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
to weaken them.
Did you see some of the them blowing things up? I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
people are.
one after the other.
And what's
Boom,
weird is, people
boom,
are driving
boom.
down the street to go to the supermarket and,
Yeah, yeah.
right next to them. I can't imagine living like that.
Well, we're so lucky in this country.
I know.
Well, first of all, you don't realize it, but we're protected with the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific
Right,
Ocean.
that's true.
There's nobody really, and with Canada to the north and Mexico to the south, although Mexico seems to be a problem now, but we never really had a problem with
Right,
anybody trying
right.
to
We're not
invade
sandwiched
us.
in the middle of
No, we're not in the
enemies.
sandwich,
Right.
right? And we're kind of lucky, so we never really experienced anything like that.
But what's got me worried now is all these people that came over the border.
Terror cells.
How many sleeper cells are out there that are
Well,
planning
they're
stuff?
talking
Now, they
about
already
this,
had a couple
right? Yeah,
shooters.
this one shooting in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
They shot the guy. The guy shot 3 people, killed them, and injured another 14 or 15, whatever it is. But then they shot him, and he had a sweatshirt on that said "Property of Allah,"
Yeah.
and then a T-shirt underneath that was the Iranian flag.
Oh. And Ohio had another shooting too.
Yeah, Ohio did, but they don't know if
I don't
that's
know if that was a terrorist one.
yeah. And but we might see. You're right. Biden let in 12, 15 million people into the country. I'm sure there's somebody there that they've been in touch with, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it could happen very easily. You start seeing little bombs going off,
Yeah.
buses
Yeah.
exploding,
Yeah.
this happening.
They'll get us from within, and
Yep.
that's a scary part. Everybody has to be aware and be awake. Keep your eyes open because you
Yep.
never know. See something, say something.
Say something, right?
Isn't that what they say?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
So the U.S.'s operation was called Epic Fury,
Yep.
and the Israel's were Roaring Lion. Why they come up with these?
Oh, is that what they
names?
called it?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said already, it involved hundreds of different strikes, and that's crazy. So the key targets that they were reporting on,
Yeah.
they were, of course, the leaderships, which they took out right away. They took out him and his son and a bunch of people, I said already. And
Oh, I didn't know his son was in there.
yeah, they said his son is gone too because he was going to step right into his shoes. Now, they named Ayatollah Elizra Arafi. I think the name is pronounced. I apologize.
So he's kind of running the show right now.
He's in interim leadership right now. Now, wouldn't it be nice if he says, "Okay, enough's enough"?
Well, that's what Trump's he's hoping that they're going to raise their hands, and say, "Okay, enough.
Yeah,
We give up. Sorry.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
can you see
We
that?
didn't mean it.
We're sorry.
It's just a joke. Come on, you're taking it too serious."
You're the wind. You're the wind beneath my wings. Let me help you out. But it's gotten. I don't know. I'm like really mixed about this whole thing. But
Well,
then again, you can't just sit there and let them build nukes and let them build missiles, and then they shoot one over and they go, "See, maybe we should have done something earlier."
for 40 plus years, they've been saying, "Death
Death
to
to
America,
America.
death to Israel." And now they're what did they say? This is a something to do against Muslims. It's a big attack against the whole Muslim faith.
No, it's not.
But it's not.
No,
But
it's
that's
not.
what
It's
they
to
said.
save the Muslim,
Right.
especially the women. There was a woman that was wearing her.
Burqa.
Yeah, what do they call the cover? The
Yeah,
head,
I think it's called a
headdress.
burqa.
She had a piece of hair sticking out, and
Oh,
they
that's
beat her
right.
to death.
They beat her to death. Yeah.
Man, what the heck is?
Oh, she did die. I thought
Yeah.
they just beat
No,
her.
they said, yeah,
Okay. Okay. Wow.
that's crazy. But that's how they treat their women,
But
really.
what gets me is just here's my take on this.
Yeah.
Whoever they put in there, or whoever goes in there
Mhm.
and replaces this idiot that they just killed, let's say he's not as bad. He's
Right.
pretty good,
Right.
and he lets the country have a little bit more freedoms and things like that.
Sure.
And if he says women, they don't have to wear the bar. If they want to wear it, they can. If they don't have to. What if you get some men there that have been there for years and they're used to all that, and then they get mad, and then they kind of uproar,
Yeah, like
and they
a
start
civil
beating
war.
their wives because they took it off, and I mean we go into these countries and we say to we think everybody wants to be like us,
Right. Right.
and
And we can't force that on
can't
everybody.
force that on anybody. And they got their own. There's probably men there that, all their life. Yeah, maybe they were oppressed and all this, but all of a sudden,
Yeah, U.S. comes in and says you're doing things our way.
well, not so much our way, but they're living. Now you got freedom, and there might be
Yeah.
some harsh people there who didn't like this guy that they just killed, but yet. Hey, wait a minute. We don't want this. We still
Uh,
want to have control over our women.
yeah, I
We
know.
want.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the first strikes they got, according to this, of course, Khomeini, he was 86, along with his family members, a daughter, son-in-law, grandson, and other high-ranking officials.
They all died.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And in the capital district, multiple explosions in the capital district. Um, in
I know
government
they.
ministries, they went after command logistic operations
I know
and
they knocked down his
infrastructure.
statue. There was some kind of a statue
Yeah,
or a memorial or something
yeah.
they knocked down.
They also hit nuclear-related sites, facilities, anything that had uranium enrichment, stuff like that. They took all that out, and of course, missile and military infrastructure. Primarily, we did that. The U.S., by the way, while Israel was doing other stuff,
Right.
we took out their missile and launch sites and different things like that. I was watching a couple of videos too. They had rockets ready to launch, and they just took them out.
Yeah.
But for them to, like we said earlier, to lob over into other countries,
Yeah,
they're not
it's
making
it's
friends. So
almost
now,
like, well, first of all, Saudi Arabia, which is a big country there, they never liked Iran. In
no,
fact,
they
I
don't.
find out the Prince of Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
was telling, to the press and everything, we got to use diplomacy. You
Oh,
got to
okay.
use diplomacy. You got to, but behind the scenes, the CIA reported
Yeah.
that he told Trump he had a couple of phone calls with Trump in the last month or two. Go for it. Do what you got to do to get this guy out
Is
of
that
there.
true? Really?
Yes, I heard it today.
Wow.
They were talking about it today on the news, and that's what I heard. On the outside, he was saying we got to use diplomacy, no military action, but yet
Mm.
he didn't want to be known to say that. But he supposedly told Trump, go for it. Do what you got to do. Get him out of here.
Well, that's what a lot of people did say. They're being nervous because if they get a nuke, they're closer. They don't need a long range missile to hit them. Um, Now, the casualties so far, we only lost 3 U.S. service members
It's three too
as
much.
of what?
It's three too much.
I know.
But
I know.
that's war. I mean that's so. And Trump said it in his
I
speech.
heard it. Yeah.
He said it. There's probably going to be casualties, so be prepared.
So yeah, there was 5 seriously wounded so far. Now this is earlier today, so I'm hoping there's not more. Um, Several others sustained minor injuries, but then they reported back to duty. Wow, that's good.
The ones that were hurt supposedly they were able to come back.
These are the first confirmed U.S. combat fatalities in this specific escalation. Early reports from late February indicated U.S. casualties from the initial Iranian response, but updates on March 1st confirmed these losses. So far we lost 3, 5 are hurt.
And there's probably going to be more. I'm sure there's going to be
There will
something
be.
else. Yeah.
Now, here's the sad part, and this is the part that uh, I can't get over. For the technology that we have, where we can aim a missile into a window at a specific address, how the hell do we drop a bomb on a school? This is the problem. There were kids in that school, they ranging from 7 to 12 years old, and there were about 36 to 53 killed. Nobody has the exact. Later update said as much as 85. Not all kids, but kids and adults in this particular school were hit. The school in question was a girls' school, elementary school, southern Iran near the Strait of Hormuz.
You know this for a fact? I'm
Yeah,
surprised that they had a girls' school there because
well,
women
no
are so
kidding.
depressed.
Yeah,
So so they're beneath everybody. I'm surprised they would let them have their own school, but
yeah.
maybe
Supposedly
they
it was
maybe they
adjacent to
did.
the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So yeah, they were in target area. That's probably what happened. But that's the part that's heart wrenching to think that kids who have nothing to do with this
Right.
that's what happens, and that is war. That's what Trump said. But I can see casualties in military things like that. But to have innocent kids,
Right.
I don't. That's not cool.
Um, well, I mean,
Now the
you
UN
and I
wasn't.
weren't around to see it, but when we dropped the atomic bomb,
Yeah, I
you know
know.
who they killed
Oh,
everybody over
yeah,
there in Japan.
yeah.
Uh,
That was
think
unheard of
about
at
it. I
the
mean,
time.
we weren't alive for then, so it didn't really
Yeah,
put anything like on our soul to make it think about it. But I mean, that's what happened, and
Nagasaki and yeah,
yeah.
and that was and those nuclear bombs back in those days. It was nothing compared to what they are
Oh
now.
no, nothing at all.
You know, I
But I mean, for 40 plus years, they've been saying that this guy's got to go.
I know.
President since Reagan, they all said it.
Hmm.
Nobody did anything about it. Nobody.
Yeah,
And even Congress said it. The Senate said it. Israel said it. Even other leaders in other countries all said it. This guy's got to go. Even Saudi Arabia, here they're saying he's got to go. Nobody liked the guy,
yeah,
and
and their people
he was
obviously didn't
doing a
either.
lot of terroristic things. They were supporting that, or they were, what's the word I'm trying to find, where they support the terrorist things that go around the world.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And he had to go. I mean, and Trump stepped up and did it.
Yeah, now if you remember, Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize for bombing the shit out of some of these countries,
Mm,
for Yemen and
right.
I think 5 other countries that he took bombing missions out on, and
Mm,
nobody said a word.
no,
You
I
know,
know.
it's the same thing, and I'm getting tired of saying it because it's the same thing. It just doesn't matter what he does; it's wrong. And
Oh yeah, I was
well,
reading today about Jane Fonda and Rosie
yeah,
O'Donnell and Mark Ruffalo and this
well,
one
yeah.
and John Cusack, and they're all talking about how this is Vietnam over again,
No, it's
and this
not.
is all this crap.
First of all, no war is like Vietnam. Not with the technology we got today.
Right.
Between drones and missiles, guided missiles, all that stuff. It's just not like that anymore. But the UN did have an emergency meeting, and they were not very happy.
Well, I mean,
But we made our
we've
point.
been talking about this for months.
Oh,
We all
that's a
said,
good point.
when is he going to do it? Well, he's got all those shit. When is he going to do it? They all knew that.
Yeah, yeah, and we had sanctions on them. We had gave them enough time to talk, and more time to talk, and more time, and then it just keeps. They don't just don't do it.
No, but they've been saying this, and everybody knew this. Everybody knew this.
Yeah, it
Even
was
these
coming.
Democrats that are like complaining
I
about it, they
know.
all knew it.
They knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. I mean,
Yep.
and the minute it happens, oh, he's terrible. Oh, Orange Man bad. Oh, he's horrible.
And Senator Mark Kelly is one of the worst ones, and I really
Oh, he's
respected him as an astronaut. And now, he's so far the other way, and and yeah, and Iran was at the UN meeting, and they passed a remark about. I don't know if I have that clip, but he actually said, "We hope the U.S. will be." What did he say? Either more proper or nicer, or something like that. And then our guy got up, and I don't have his name.
yeah, and
You know who he is,
yeah.
and he just says, not for nothing, but we told you guys what was happening, and the way your regime ran those country.
Trump gave them
And you coming, this
so
is
much time
he said
to say they won't come out with a nuclear
right,
weapon.
right,
I told Trump that's what he said. If you tell us that you're not going to produce a nuclear
and you
weapon,
don't,
and you don't,
right.
everything will be fine.
So our guy said to him, all respect, he said, but you're talking about somebody who killed 30,000 people of their own people, because you protest against now. There's a good comparison, right? We protest against our government every single day.
Yeah.
Somebody's got something to say. We're not taking them out.
No.
These people were injured in the hospital and they were killing
They
them.
were killing them in the hunt. Yeah.
So, this is the kind of regime. How about if we lived under that? Do you think, let's ask a question, and maybe I'll put a poll up. If we lived like that, where you were protesting against your government and they killed you, compared to what happens here, what would you rather be at? I mean, wouldn't you want the regime removed? Wouldn't you want, if our president, whoever it is, killed protesters? Now remember, we killed two. Not good.
Right.
and they were possibly justified. We don't know yet, but we would want the leader to be removed, I would think. So, do you think seeing the celebrations of him being removed is more real than the people are saying that,
Right.
oh, we're sad he's gone?
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
I see all the people in Iran celebrating.
Yeah.
They're
Well, there
all
were
celebrating like crazy.
Iranians in D.C.
I know.
and in
And
Los
in Los
Angeles.
Angeles, I
Yeah.
saw the ones in Los Angeles.
Dancing
Yeah.
in the streets and all that. And I got a clip. We'll talk while the clip
They
is
were
on.
talking to some lady. She says 47 years we've been waiting for this.
Yes.
And
Yeah. And there was all kinds of people on TikTok. They're all Iranians saying, thank you, thank you, thank you.
right.
Now, again, this is just an opinion. You guys can think what you want. We don't need comments directed at us that is negative to the point where you're making, we understand your thoughts. We respect your thoughts. And we want you to comment. We want you to like and subscribe and listen to us and make a comment. Tell us, differently. You don't have to call us assholes. Just give us your opinion because we value that. I think it was the right thing to do. I'm mixed more than Bill is, but I think it was the right thing to do for people. If we look at human beings, my father told me something. I'll never forget this. God rest his soul. He said there are two languages that no matter where you live or what you're doing or what kind of person you are, there are two things that people understand. No matter what language you speak or what you can't speak, the two things that they understand is crying and sadness and laughter.
Right.
No matter what kind of person you are, a human being,
Right.
crying and laughter.
Yeah.
It's all an intercommunicational type thing, So I'm going to run a clip while we're talking. If you want to go to this page here where I wrote the pen mark. Yeah, right there. So I'm going to run this just while we're talking. But,
Okay.
here's some video of some celebrations going on and dancing in the streets. And
Talking about the celebration, I was thinking about if another country wanted to take Trump out,
well, I know.
and let's say
No.
they did,
Half the country would celebrate.
you'd be seeing
Yeah.
50% celebration. You'd see 50% cheering in being all depressed about it.
Yep.
And I don't know.
That's what's scary too. And I don't care. He's people say he's a king. We've gone through this a million times. You wouldn't even be protesting on the street if that were the case.
Yeah.
You got to understand that these people, the way they live every day, and the women, I mean, my wife said to me, take me someplace I haven't been. I said, try the kitchen. No,
Right, Rodney Dangerfield.
no, that was
that was Benny.
Jack Benny.
No, not Jack Benny. It was
Benny Youngman.
Henny Youngman, right?
Benny Youngman, yeah. So try the kitchen.
Try the kitchen.
So I believe in that. No, but to have
Take my wife, please.
take my wife, please. I was at a restaurant. I don't know if I ever mentioned it on the podcast, but I was on a restaurant and this guy came in with his wife, and they were obviously, Arab or whatever, and she was covered up completely.
Really?
The mask, just the eyes.
Oh God.
You know how she had to eat like this. She had to pull the thing out and put food in her mouth and put it
You
back.
gotta be kidding.
I watched it the whole time. I was so tempted. My wife was like, "You better sit down and shut up."
And I heard also too, like when the men walk down the street with their wives, the wives got to walk like 10
Behind them.
behind them.
Yeah.
Do you imagine if you told your wife that, or
Yeah.
I can't.
But married 38
My wife-
years, that may not be a bad idea.
Oh boy, now you're really
Now
gonna
I'm in
get.
trouble.
He said it, women, not me.
Yeah, but he wrote it down for me to say it. No. Um,
No, but you imagine that with the Me Too movement and all that
oh, no
that's
kidding.
going on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we came out with whatever that's called, Sharia law or whatever
Yeah.
it's called.
And
We don't know how good we have it.
I know.
There's a lot of Americans that do,
Of course, yeah.
but there's a lot of Americans that are like they're all pissed off and they don't
Always.
realize
They're always
what it's
mad.
like to live in one of these idiot countries over there.
Yeah. Very bad. And one of the things, I don't have the audio here, but in one of the celebrations, they were playing the song YMCA.
Really?
Yeah.
Having Trump go.
They had the American flags, they had the Iranian flags, and they're dancing in the streets, and they had Trump signs, "Thank you, Trump," and In the background, somebody was playing YMCA. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
But a significant portion of Iranians, particularly those who oppose the Islamic Republic regime, appear to welcome and support the strikes as a potential path to weakening or overthrowing the government they've long protested against.
yep.
So
This is what they want.
this is what they want, right?
Now,
And our president did it. I mean, this guy did. I mean,
I know.
but did you see? I supposedly they said that just the other day, oil's probably going to go up.
Well, now they blocked the
Hormuz.
Hormuz.
Hormuz erupts.
They blocked it.
They blocked it. So what they're saying is that by doing that, oil prices are going to go up. Now gas is going to go high, and everybody's going to blame Trump.
It is Trump. Yeah, it's Trump's fault.
Well, I also heard too that the
That won't last long. They'll have that open. They have to have that open. How can they still have the strength to do that after the beating they just took too? I don't
get that either, but that's what they're saying.
Like you said, with them knocking out somebody's,
that's what it says here. They're GPS jamming.
Yeah.
Right now, that's what's happening. They're jamming a lot of the ships there. I guess even the military ships too.
Yeah, yeah. So they can't communicate, which is not a good thing. So I just hope that this ends quickly. I really do. This can't go on. I mean, especially if we're hitting, civilians.
Yeah.
Accidentally. But even so,
it's gonna happen. It's gonna. I mean, I know it's hard to think about that, but it's gonna happen. I'm glad that somebody did it. Just like Lindsey Graham said, the head is cut off. This is going to be this could be, after all the smoke clears and everything, this could be a big thing for the Middle East.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it might be like a big harmony thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah, look at Dubai.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi.
And all that, the big building, and it's beautiful. Awesome. They say Saudi Arabia is gorgeous and everything, and
the best Formula One race of the season, the last one in Abu Dhabi, really nice.
I also heard though
oil money
that they some of their missiles, Iranian missiles, went to Cyprus. Where is Cyprus? Is that Greece? The Italian or Mediterranean cypress is a native to the eastern Mediterranean region and widely grown in gardens and wider landscape of many European countries. That's all it says.
Okay. And the amazing thing, if you guys ever been to an air show and they have these fighter jets, I know the Thunderbirds, the Blue Angels, they do a stunt where they get your attention somewhere else up in the sky, and they come back with another jet that's doing almost the speed of sound or more. And the jet, all of a sudden you hear this loud, and it's behind the jet. When you look at the jet, the sound is like behind it. It's really weird. It's a weird experience.
Now, Cyprus is off the coast of Lebanon, south of Turkey. Mm-hmm. That's where it's at. I thought it was in Greece.
So I guess time will tell, huh? What's going to happen here?
Yeah, I mean...
but if you think about, old wars in the past, right? I mean, we lost 3 people.
I know. You're right.
And that's what some of the negative feedback, of course, with everybody is that we're going to lose American servicemen. Yeah, of course, it's a war, but it's not like it used to be.
Right.
Our military is just incredible, and God spare everybody there. And I just hope to heck that this thing is done before the end of the week. I really do. Bill and I do another show on Tuesday. We may mention this again. It comes out on Thursday. I'm hoping by then this thing will be over and we'll have the final stats and who's in power. But I like what you said. This could be a whole turning point for the whole world.
It can be. It could be a whole turning point mainly for the Middle East. Yeah. It could be a whole turning point with him getting. I mean, think about what this man has done, Trump.
I know.
In the 1 year that he's been in office. Took out Maduro, took out Palestine.
Which, by the way, again, we should remind people that Maduro had a bounty on his head for 5 years.
Right.
Nobody did anything.
Ended the Palestinian war with Israel. Mm-hmm. Ended all these other wars that are going on around the world.
7 other, yeah.
Yeah. Blocked the border.
Definitely a big one.
That's a big one. I mean,
Nobody coming
it's
over.
just unbelievable what this guy has done.
Yeah.
He's basically taken out some of our mainstream media outlets.
Yeah.
CBS has supposedly got a new person in there. Might be they're saying now CNN is being taken over by somebody who might be more to the right, and all the they're all nervous and everything. I mean, and it's all because of him and what he does
Yeah.
and things that he says and you know. And I love when he tells a reporter, you're a terrible person.
Yeah, I know.
I never see tells that Caitlin Collins, who's very pretty on CNN. You never smile.
Yeah, she
You're a
doesn't.
horrible reporter. You never smile. You ask stupid questions. I don't want to answer any more
But
questions
this
from
is
you.
part of the reason why people hate this guy because he
Right.
doesn't act as a politician. He acts like a guy in a locker room all the time.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't like that. And is it professional as a president to act like that? Now, you compare him to Reagan, who was a very strong president, but the way he did things were a lot different.
Right.
And that's why people hate this guy so much
Oh,
because it is what it is.
But he
So,
has really done so much in the past year.
yeah, well,
And nobody, I mean, the right, they report it, they do. But I mean, and now look at this with Cuba. They're saying Cuba's no oil is getting there because they used to get it from Venezuela.
mhm.
They're not getting the oil. There's nothing there in Cuba. The people are starving. And they might just all of a sudden say, hey, United States, take us over. Not that they would be
Well,
a state, but they could be like a territory like Puerto Rico, which I'm all for it. I always thought Cuba is the perfect place. It's only 90 miles from Key West.
right.
And it'd be the perfect place for vacationing. The hotels they can build there and all that to make it beautiful
Well, the
and
Russians
going
way
down
back
there.
in the 60s knew it was a good place for nukes
Yeah, well,
back then
they're
because
yeah,
of short range missiles. But
yeah.
yeah, and what you just said now, they're in trouble and and they're starving and this and that. Why don't we step in there too and help them out?
We should. I
Yeah.
know Marco Rubio's there. He's been
Okay.
going there back and forth.
All right.
So
Yeah, we need to help countries too, not just take out regime. That's not, not for us to do all over the world.
I just always thought Cuba is like, I know what happened in '59 with Batista and all that, but I just always thought Cuba, God, it's perfect. It's only
Yeah.
90 miles away. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful island, be part of the Caribbean, all the islands, and
Yeah.
they could build hotels and resorts and things like that. It would
Yeah.
be, probably casinos and all,
Yeah.
which I think
Sure.
they did in the '50s,
Mm.
but I don't know. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, let's see where this takes us. God bless everybody out there. Everybody be safe
Yeah, be
and
safe.
keep your eyes open
Did you
because you
see
don't
some
know if we
planes had
got.
to be turned around? Even planes that were going to France or
Yeah.
uh, uh, Greece, or
Hmm.
Turkey, they were turning the planes around.
Yeah. Yeah. And apparently, this not to go back to the beginning, but this attack happened earlier. Usually we attack at night, but this happened earlier on because they knew all the guys were grouped in that one building,
Right. Yep.
and they gave the order to do
Kudos
it.
to our CIA. They're the ones that
Oh,
found
it's
them.
just the intelligence,
Oh,
crazy.
it's
So
crazy. It's like that show. What was that show? Well, you had 24. Remember 24?
yeah, 24.
It was
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm.
And then Homeland.
Yeah,
Oh,
great,
Homeland was a
great series. Yeah,
great show.
with Dane there, whatever
Yeah,
her name was.
Clara
Clara
Danes.
Dane. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we just wanted to get this in real quick, and I'm gonna edit this and get it out as quick as I can. And let's uh, let's say prayers. This ends early,
Yep.
and with minimal lives.
Yep.
Let's take out the targets we need to take out, and that's all we can say. I'll probably put up a poll what you guys think out there, and we'll go from there. By the way, our last voter ID poll. 99% of the people that answered the poll said yes, we need voter ID. It was pretty interesting.
Well, sure. I mean,
So
yeah.
now I do want to say one thing, and this might be a little selfish on our side, but we have a lot of subscribers. But the views that we're getting, and people are watching us because I can see all that data, but we have less than 5% of these millions of people watching us that are subscribing. So just remember, it doesn't cost anything. It just gives you a heads up when we got a new video coming out and help the channel. We really appreciate it. And if you do the bell, the cowbell, you'll get immediate notifications. So, help us out. We appreciate you guys watching and listening. And you guys that don't like us, don't like us. But, bottom line is everybody's got an opinion and we value yours too. So that's it.
Alrighty.
I'm Joe.
I'm Bill.
All right.
Very good.
Have a good night.
See ya. Bye bye.